great news, and I agree. We love good news. We love great news, and today is a day of good news. Now, let's just take a little moment. We're gonna test this out. We're gonna have a little bit of fun because all of you are sort of our family on the show. We're gonna test this out. We're gonna do a quick Modern Mom Minute today. Well, happy Valentine's Day to you this weekend as well. We've had a lot of questions come in through the weeks about our loved ones, and we're definitely happy to answer your question here. So one of the questions that we continue to get, and this came from our Modern Mom community, is what's the best way to teach my kids about money? I wish they would teach it in school, but they don't. And how do you teach your kids? I think we're both in the 3-boy club. Happy face. That's so cute. Yes, mom of 3. We are in fact both in the 3-boy club. And yes, when we all wish that we were taught how to best handle money in school. I know one of my kids actually learned how to start their first business in 3rd grade. That was pretty awesome. He sold succulents, actually, like little potted succulents. It was the cutest thing. And that was great. But I think we need more than that. We need more education. And we also need to teach our kids about how to handle money and how to be comfortable with talking about it as well. Now, if you don't have kids, you're definitely going to tune in too, because this advice works just as well for adults and relationships in general. So here are my tips. What you want to do is incorporate money discussions in your regular conversations when you're with your loved ones, right? Maybe like, for example, like what I've been doing lately with my kids is telling them a bedtime story. And if you're explaining something that's happening in your daily life, or if you're asking them about their day in school, just see if you can add a money story or example into there. For example, like I was telling you, I've been telling my kids about a made-up story that I made up called about Wambi. Wambi is a wombat. Now, if you don't know why I talked about a wombat, recently there was an article that came out, I think on NPR or what, about wombats and their very interesting ways of pooing. I know. Well, little boys, they like this kind of humor. Anyhow, so Wambi the wombat, I made this story up, is dealing with a bully at school who's stealing his pencils, right? So this is teaching my kids about how to deal with bullies, obviously, but we're also including a bit about how much these pencils cost and why he wouldn't want to have these stolen from him and why he didn't have the money to replace these pencils. Now, if you're an adult, you can also use like your own stories. It could be from the news, like so-and-so is getting married, or so-and-so is fighting about like a divorce settlement when I think even Brad Pitt and like Angelina Jolie are still doing that. Those actually make great stories. And these are how you can stem into financial discussions. So you want to use examples because to a point until you can start getting more comfortable incorporating money discussions into your regular life, then it becomes not this big thing, but just part of normal talk. The other thing you want to do, the second tip I'll share with you, is to teach money concepts before you actually use money. You want to expose your kids to needs versus wants, this philosophy, as soon as possible. This goes with my adult clients as well. We have deep discussions about needs versus wants, what this means in terms of budgeting. And if you're not sure how to start this conversation, I'll shamelessly plug my course for you that you can find on LinkedIn Learning titled How to Teach Your Kids About Money. Now, in fact, when we first shared this course out, a lot of the employees at LinkedIn actually jumped on the course, took the course, and were like watching the course, and we get so much amazing feedback. And one of the things that continue to hear is like, I didn't expect for myself to learn so much about money. I mean, I thought you were going to teach me how to talk to my kids about money, which you did, but you also taught me skills that I actually can utilize myself with my partner, with my business partner and whatnot. I mean, it's really heartwarming to see these stories. So I think this is going to give you the tools that you're going to need, because these are the tools that I actually use with my own kids. Some I even use with my husband, and how we set up our family bank. You know, every family I think needs a bank. A lot of people ask, should I actually give my kids an allowance or should I not? I deal with all those topics within the course, but I'm also going to tell you something that I think every family should do, and that is to set up a family bank structure. And I actually go into detail on how to just do that. And on other news, something many parents have been asking about as well. It was just announced actually this week that students as young as first grade may be able to get vaccinated against the COVID-19 by this September, just in time for school. As White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci shared an interview published by ProPublica yesterday. Fauci explained that clinical trials are currently taking place in both the United States and with both, I should say, both vaccine developers, Pfizer and Moderna. They're testing both for safety and efficacy of the coronavirus doses for children. As you remember, he had previously said that the FDA might allow for vaccinations in American children by the time we get to late spring or early summer. But again, this is really a wait and see timeline. So I think that's pretty good news. I think it's really good news. And on that note, I want to say a happy Valentine's Day to all of you as we go ahead and share with you our third question that we received. Let's take a look. All right, current questions here. It says, how do I bridge the idea of disclosing our finances before we get married? It must be with your fiance. And should I be concerned if my partner doesn't want to talk to me about money before he buys something big, like a car? Now, I know this is two separate questions, but we thought we'd put a bunch of them together because it seems like a perfect opportunity to talk about this. We're talking about love, talking about Valentine's Day, right? Well, let me answer this question. You know, somebody actually sent me this question earlier this week saying, like, should I even get married to him or her because they're not willing to, or maybe they have debt, or maybe they're not willing to talk about money. Should I be concerned? And I'm going to just say this. First off, it's, believe it or not, it's very, very normal to have debt. Okay. It's also very, very normal to not be comfortable talking about money. I don't think it's necessarily a marriage breaker. Okay. But how do we get comfortable talking about money? I think this is really key. Whether you're engaged or you're in a relationship or you're already married, here's what you need to do. You got to get to a point where you can talk to your partner about money, because we know so many relationships actually fail because you're not comfortable talking about it. And I'm not just talking about like, oh, I'm going to pay the bill, you're going to pay the bill, and this kind of stuff. I'm talking about being comfortable sharing statements. So one of the best ways to do this is to say, like, you know, I feel like, you know, a good foundation would be for us to sort of talk about, since maybe we're moving in together, or maybe taking that next step in our relationship, maybe, you know, since it's about tax season, maybe we should, you know, figure out where we are and make sure that we have similar goals, or maybe that we can put some goals together. That'd be really cool, right? Maybe now that we're thinking the pandemic might be behind us at some point, we can plan the next vacation or honeymoon. Lead with something positive that you can both plan on, and then segue into, hey, while we're doing this, maybe we should figure out where we stand financially. Like, when's the last time you checked your credit score? And believe it or not, the credit report, in my mind, is one of the best ways to segue through that discussion. And one of the best ways that you can feel comfortable knowing that your partner is, you know, honest with you. Because the credit score, just like when you know, apply to rent your apartment, the rental company always wants to see your credit score, because it's really hard to hide financial information in credit score. It shows how many credit cards you have, any debt you have, any loans you have, any mortgages, things like that will show up in a credit score, right? Your credit worthiness. Now, if you or the person that you love has a not so perfect credit score, this is not an opportunity to slam on them. Instead, this is something to work on and have a discussion on. Maybe there's oftentimes a reason why someone doesn't have a perfect credit score or credit history. It could be reasons, you know, maybe they weren't taught that when they were kids. Maybe they didn't have a lot of personal financial literacy when they were growing up. So take that with a grain of salt, but also find this as a way to come together. So many times in my 20 plus years as a financial professional, I've had to counsel and work with couples, business partners, you know, parents and children and grandparents about financial, what we call mistakes. And some people call it financial infidelities. Financial infidelities would be where you don't disclose, right? You do something really bad, and maybe you do it more than once. But whatever you call it, understand this is a time to come and have that open discussion. And if you're afraid to have that discussion, you want to enlist a third party professional. Maybe bring in a financial professional like myself, or your accountant, or someone in your life that you can trust, that both of you will feel comfortable talking about these financial concerns with. That's what I would say. Those are a big one. All right, let's see the second question again. Curtis, if you don't mind, I want to make sure I cover that, because I know that was a big one too. That was when we got a lot of questions. Okay, should I be concerned if my partner doesn't want to talk to me about money before he buys something big like a car? So, great question. You should just dump him then. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, but if he doesn't want to talk to you about something big like buying a car, there could be reasons. And so I would invite you and I would challenge you to have a discussion with him and just say, why is it that you feel this way? You know, how do your parents deal with these sort of difficult financial, or not difficult, but financial decisions, right? Buying something big. Did they not talk about it? Did you never talk about money at home? There could be reasons that, you want to ask him about, and it could be completely reasonable. But will tell you, in most relationships I've seen where, couples have been married for a very long time successfully, they tend to have an understanding about money. It could be like, for example, my husband and I have been married for over 20 years now. And when it comes to really large purchases, we just know that we're going to talk about them. And for us, it's not a big thing. We just kind of talk about it, right? And we tend to see eye to eye on those purchases. But on little things, if it's less than a certain amount, let's say less than $20, less than $100 or whatnot, we might not need to go and have a big discussion, because we pretty much know what the other person would say, if that was okay or wasn't okay. So I think what you want to do, especially if you're in a newer relationship, is to have a discussion. We got to make this work. What will work for you? What would make you comfortable? And, and also make me comfortable. And in the case of a car, I think in most cases, whether you're leasing a car, you're buying a car, in most cases, unless you're buying a putt $300 junk car, this is area where you should come together and have an open discussion. I mean, you might not agree on the color or the make or whatever car, but you should know about it and you should have a say in it. So I would say this is an opportunity for you to bring in a third party to kind of help you mediate this discussion, your financial discussion. All right. So thank you so much for your questions, because I do think a lot of people are going to benefit from that, because I will tell you that has come into my life with my clients so many times. It's not just about the car. It could be about doggy daycare. It could be buying a rental home. It could be buying, spoiling one child with a down payment on his or her house. It could be a number of things, or who pays for the wedding or not. This is an opportunity to have those discussions, and you don't have to feel like you need to lead this discussion, because that's what professionals out there do. I do this for my clients. I don't get paid for this, but it's something that I really enjoy, because it's something that we're good at, So keep that in mind, my friends. Keep that in mind. Thank you so much. So much. In fact, I see so many comments here. Because it's Lunar New Year, I also want to say a Happy New Year to you in Chinese. So I'm actually going to say that. I'm going to say 新年快乐, and that means Happy New Year to all of you. And actually, for those of you who are kids, you can also say 红包拿来, which means, so now that, I said Happy New Year to you, since if you're an unmarried child or even an unmarried adult, you actually still qualify for those red envelopes that you see people talk about on Chinese New Year that include money in them. Yeah, so that's actually a thing. So Happy New Year to you. Good luck. All the greatest wishes to health, happiness, and of course, prosperity. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch replays and strategy videos. You have here our live stream, which streams on 6 different platforms. And now, plus Modern Mom, every day that the financial markets are open. Thank you so much for watching, supporting our program, and sharing the show with those that you love and care about. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Be well, enjoy your new year, your Valentine's Day, your tax day, and also your President's Day on Monday, and everything that's important and everyone that's important to you. Have an amazing weekend. I can't wait to see you again on Tuesday. Since the markets are closed on Monday for President's Day, so will we. So much to celebrate, my friends. Take care and be well.